New Delhi, you're watching the India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address a special session of Global Fintech Fest in Mumbai will also launch projects to boost maritime connectivity, including India's largest deep water port. More trouble brewing up for the Indian state of Gujarat, already battered by monsoon fury. Deep depression to turn into cyclonic storm off Gujarat coast by Friday. In first sit-down interview for presidential campaign, Kamala Harris defense policy shifts, says the values have not changed, might appoint a Republican to her cabinet. Israel agrees humanitarian pauses in Gaza to allow polio vaccinations. Drive to be rolled out in 3 separate stages across Gaza beginning Sunday. And Angelina Jolie wows the Venice Film Festival as she premieres Maria, in which she plays Maria Callas, one of the greatest sopranos of all time, calls it the most demanding role of her career. And on to the details now. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting India's financial capital Mumbai on Friday and will deliver the keynote address at the 5th edition of Global Fintech Fest. DD India's Shama Mishra reports for more from Mumbai. Take a look.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting India's financial capital Mumbai on Friday and will deliver the keynote address at the 5th edition of Global Fintech Fest. It is being jointly organized by the Payments Council of India, the National Payments Corporation of India and the Fintech Convergence Council. PM will also be visiting booths on display at the exhibition hall. There are around 300 plus exhibitors displaying their services and products related to fintech solutions. The 3-day fest, which started on August 28, is one of the largest fintech conferences. This year, the Global Fintech Fest is designed around the theme Blueprint for the Next Decade of Finance. Responsible AI, inclusive, resilient. India being one of the fastest growing fintech markets in the world. This conference assembles the leading minds in global fintech to surge ahead, ensuring inclusive and sustainable growth.
And learn a lot about UPI, how it was built, how it was done, what are the objectives, and the success that it's had, particularly in bringing more formalization to the business sector by having lots of small merchants suddenly connected to this larger payment system. So it's been a pleasure, and then I love hearing how fintechs are going to improve, expand, and deliver greater service to everybody.
The focus is responsible AI, inclusivity, and resilience, and it highlights the commitment to building a responsible financial ecosystem that can adapt to and thrive amid global challenges. Global Fintech Fest 2024 is presented by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Ministry of External Affairs, Department of Financial Services, Reserve Bank of India, and International Financial Services Centres Authority.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been an advocate of Digital India. In his Mumbai visit, it is expected that the Prime Minister will reiterate the need for stronger DPI, further revolutionize the fintech solutions, and also on his vision of making Mumbai the fintech capital of the world. Shama Mishra, DD India, Mumbai.
And for more, we have Shama Mishra joining us from the fest itself. Well, Shama, PM is about to address the conference. What all is lined up? Also, GFF is a catalyst for change in the fintech ecosystem. With hundreds of sessions planned, how will GFF importantly foster collaboration and help in shaping the future of the industry?
Well, Lipakshi, we understand that Digital India or the digital ways is the future, and the stage is all set. As you've mentioned, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be coming and addressing, he'll be delivering a keynote address over here, and this is the 3rd day. So this started on 28th, and now it's the last day where a lot of sessions are still to go. We are also understanding that there are more than 300 plus exhibitors who are exhibiting their financial solutions, the products and services. So Prime Minister would be visiting that exhibition area as well, and he'll be visiting several booths, including the RBI, NPCI, and several others. Apart from that, then he'll be coming to this particular hall where he'll be delivering a keynote address. And as I've mentioned in my report, it is expected that Prime Minister would be further, reiterating on his vision where he wants Mumbai to become the fintech capital of the entire world. And we understand that there is a potential, there's a lot of potential. And this particular fest that we're talking about the Global FinTech Fest, definitely is playing a role of catalyst. And now we understand that, it's not just talking about the fintech or the solutions that is there. It is about, thinking over what can be done in the next decade. As the theme has already been mentioned, it's the blueprint of the next decade. It has to be resilient, it has to be equitable, and it also has to be, we also are talking about AI. So the challenges and everything will be discussed over here. It's being discussed, and 2 days have already passed by, and a lot of discussions, a lot of garage sessions that has happened over here. So how do you deal with challenges? How do you come up with better solutions? All these is discussed, all these are discussed over here at this particular session, and today would be the last day, and whatever is transpired in these 3 days will definitely be carried forward, and also to the various stakeholders, including the government, including the global leaders. These would be passed on to them, and to understand that these are the ways ahead. These can be worked out, and in this manner, in this particular way, we can be working ahead to build a better DPI, a stronger fintech solution for all the needs, and be it urban, be it rural, encompassing everything and reaching the last mile, reaching the last person who's sitting in the village, and he's just gotten himself into that financial inclusion, purview of financial inclusion. And we are also celebrating 10 years, a decade of Jan Dhan. So we are understanding it's very crucial, and if we are talking about from the point of view of India, UPI is hailed throughout, and there are various global leaders who are addressing in this particular fest, and they have all hailed UPI.
All right.
So we are understanding India has a quite strong DPI over here, but we are looking to further strengthen
India has
it.
a very, very strong DPI there. But Shama, tell us, how will it navigate the evolving landscape of financial technology and lay down a roadmap for a responsible, inclusive and resilient future? That's the theme.
When we are talking about fintech, about the solutions and the challenges, we understand that there's a lot of threat. There's cybersecurity challenges. How do you address them? Because as and when you make your financial, as and when you make your infrastructure better, there is some kind of fraud or scams that is one step ahead, and it's very easy to fool even the people who are they are knowledgeable, they are educated. It's very easy to fool them. So how do you address these challenges? So things have to be worked on that path as well. So like I was mentioning, that this particular fest is a catalyst, and it plays an important role in bridging various stakeholders together. It brings various stakeholders together, and it's just not the industry that we are talking about. It's also about the government. It's also about the international platforms. We have seen that on the first day, from the governor, Christopher Waller, from the member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, he had come over here, and he had also mentioned that once when somebody is doing a payment and there's a friction which is experienced, it's not always termed as bad. It is always, most of the times it's necessary also. So all these parts that there are there, it's not very open to the open eye. It's not very at the plain sight you won't understand, but it is necessary. So all these reading between the thin lines, reading between the lines, all these is happening over here. And as I was mentioning, throughout their various sessions, so 800 plus speakers are lined up over here, 300 plus sessions are over here. There'll be several startups that have been given the chance to showcase their best product to the exhibitors, to the industry. So everyone is getting a chance over here, and whatever is being discussed over here, it's definitely going to be used in the future, in the next decade, and in years to come, how to address all this particular sector.
Reading between the thin lines to avoid the scams is a very important point you've raised. Thank you so much, Shama, for all that from there. And moving on, later in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of India's largest port project at Vadhvan in the Palghar district in Western India's Maharashtra. More in this report.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of India's largest port project at Vadhvan near Dahanu in Palghar district of Maharashtra. This port will boost economic activity and open new avenues for international trade. The project cost of Rs 76,220 crores includes development of major infrastructure, terminals and other commercial infrastructure. It will be developed in public-private partnership mode as an all-weather, greenfield, deep draft major port.
There are 2-3 aspects which are very unique to this project. The first and most important aspect is that there is a huge demand and supply gap will be in 2030 for the EXIM trade for the containers, and this gap will be fulfilled by this particular project.
The project has the potential to create around 12 lakh jobs. Local communities expect an uptick in employment and other opportunities for them once the work commences.
I feel this project is going to be a mega boost in the financial and infrastructure boost for the progress of the Palghar district, and it is going to be on the maps of major international front, and it is going to improve connectivity to the outside world.
Vadhvan port will be in proximity of hinterland clusters including the upcoming dedicated freight corridors and Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor. The port can serve as a gateway for the upcoming India-Middle East-Europe corridor and the international North-South transportation corridor.
This Vadhvan port is going to be a very game-changer project in recent times. Obviously, a lot of investments is involved in it, but at the same time, it's going to give job opportunity to millions and lakhs of people. Well, that's the reason this Vadhvan port is going to be one of the important destinations on the international map. Shishila for DD India, Vadhvan, Palghar.
And for more on this, we have Shishir Sheller joining us. Well, Shishir, India's first mega port set to boost sea-based trade. What does that mean for the country's share of sea-based trade?
All right, we need to understand that what exactly India is going to get. On 3 fronts, we need to focus on that Vadhvan port will give benefit to India. First of all, the internal economic system that we're talking about, that how this Vadhvan port will increase the country's economic activity. And that's one front, because currently the number of ports that we're looking in India which is operational has a maximum capacity is around 7. But imagine that once Vadhvan will operational, it will have a capacity of 23 TEU. We can see that almost threefold actually the capacity has increased. The second important aspect we need to understand is from international perspective. This port will be quite fit for the India's perspective to engage into some of the important international corridors. For example, the India-Middle East-Europe corridor that India probably is working on. And the second is, of course, the international North-South transit corridor. These 2 corridors will open up new avenues for the international trade for India, and this port will play an important role for the international traffic also. So that's the international trade that we're talking about. India will get the benefit of it. And the third important aspect from this port that India is going to get is, of course, the job employment opportunities. Nearly 12 lakh people is going to get the job in the Vadhvan port. So obviously it's a win-win situation for the country, and that's the reason being such a large project, such a large port project Vadhvan is. At the same time, the country has actually also focused that how this port can be environmentally sustainable. And that's the reason a number of measures have been taken by the government authority while implementing this project. So the ecological flora and fauna of this particular region will not hamper. At the same time, the local also will get job opportunities and business opportunities when the Vadhvan port will be operational. So obviously all these factors have been considered while executing this project.
All right, Sheller, thank you so much for all that important aspects of the port. Thank you so much. And moving on, heavy rains battered parts of Indian state of Gujarat this week, flooding cities, snapping utility links and forcing thousands to leave their homes. The torrential rains have claimed 26 lives over the past 3 days. Further, the India Weather Department has indicated that the deep depression over Saurashtra and Kutch is likely to strengthen into cyclonic storm over northeast Arabian Sea on Friday. Thus, the state is on high alert as the Weather Department has predicted heavy rains to continue over the next few days. The Indian Army, Air Force and National Disaster Response teams are carrying out relief and rescue operations in the worst hit areas. And for more, we have Parth Pandya joining us from there. Well, Parth, the mayhem continues. Cyclone Asna formation due to unusual monsoon wind system over the Arabian Sea. How is the situation there right now?
See, as far as situation is concerned, the last 24 hours was very bad for the Saurashtra and the Kutch region because the route of the depression was passing from the Kutch region and it was going to impact the Saurashtra region also. Yesterday, Dwarka, Jamnagar, Porbandar and the Kutch received more than 15 inches of the rain. Contact of Mandvi was lost due to the heavy waterlogging on the highways. Contact of Kutch was very tough. Morbi-Kutch highway was totally destroyed because of the waterlogging situation. See, as you mentioned, the deep depression is becoming a tropical cyclone right now. See, it is not a regular phenomena. A cyclone needs some precursor. That is the average temperature of the sea level, that is more than 27 degrees Celsius. And it generally occurs on the sea only. But this time, what is happening? It started from the low pressure zone in the Bay of Bengal, then it became a depression, then it became a deep depression. Now it is becoming a tropical cyclone. On August 30, that is today, it will be joining the Arabian Sea, northeast of Arabian Sea. The path of the cyclone will be the western path if it is not changed. So IMDS said that it is not a regular phenomena. Scientifically, it is a different phenomenon. It is a new thing right now happening on the land of the Gujarat because the tropical cyclone needs the moisture content and in a good amount. But land cannot give that much moisture content. So it is a new thing. Today, 45 plus teams of NDRF, SDRF and Army has been on the standby mode and on the working day and night to save people from the drowned areas. Today, southern Gujarat, central Gujarat and northern Gujarat is almost clear. As you can see, it is sometimes sunny and it is sometimes rainy.
Right.
So things are critical right now.
Right. Thank you so much, Parth, for all that update from there. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris harp on new issues to get voters tilt in their favor. One of Ukraine's F-16 fighter jets crashes while repelling a major Russian attack. And European Union's foreign ministers meet in Brussels. Top diplomats voice concern over situation in Gaza Strip.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. And moving on, US Vice President Kamala Harris said in her first interview for presidential campaign on Thursday that Americans were ready to turn the page on divisions she blamed on her rival Donald Trump. She added that she will not ban fracking as a president. She stressed that it's possible to have a clean economy without banning fracking. Harris signaled her support to Israel to defend itself, but added that far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed, as she underlined the importance of the ceasefire deal. Harris also sought to allay apprehensions that she was soft on illegal immigration. She said that laws of the land have to be followed and enforced and that there should be consequence for illegal immigration. Harris also signaled that there could be a Republican nominee on her cabinet. And for more, we have Benji Hire from Washington connected with us. Well, Benji, Kamala Harris, in first major interview, offered a most expansive explanation to date on why she's changed her positions on fracking and immigration. What were the major points and highlights of the interview?
Look, this was an opportunity for her to lay out her case on these main topics. The first opportunity that she's had in an in-depth conversation of its kind, and important for two reasons. One is that Kamala Harris is known for asking the tough questions in her capacity as a former prosecutor, former senator, but is she good at answering them? And the second thing she needed to do was to swat away those accusations that she's faced for many weeks now, that she's hidden from the press since becoming the nominee for the Democratic Party after President Joe Biden stepped aside in the race for the White House. She has managed to do that in a solid, if unspectacular way, and also defend her record that she wants to try to continue were she to win the White House on those key issues, as you note, including the economy, immigration. That's a real sticking point for her in particular, given that in another previous major sit-down interview she did years ago, it was her frankly unsatisfactory answer on the immigration crisis at the US's southern border, which gave many Americans the perception that she wasn't a strong interviewee. And then, as you said too, fracking. Yes, a domestic issue mainly, and an industry that drives the economy, and major swing states that Harris's campaign must win if they want to seal victory in November, but also one that speaks to America's position on the global stage vis-a-vis energy and climate change too. There was time to hit back at Donald Trump. She drew this very stark contrast between his disposition, his demeanor, versus what she views as President Joe Biden's selflessness in his decision to step aside in the race for the betterment of the country. She criticized Trump's attacks on her as, quote, the same old tired playbook. And I think tried to express to the American people that, yes, the Biden administration did a lot on the economy and on other matters, but frankly, she wants to go even further if she were to win the presidency in a few months' time and path what she calls a new way forward for this country.
All right, Benji, thank you so much for all that update on the interview right now. And moving on, meanwhile, as the presidential campaign in the US is intensifying, the two rivals are harping on new issues to get voters tilt in their favor. The former US president and Republican candidate Donald Trump on Wednesday in his Michigan rally promised free IVF treatment that might help single mothers and also those couples who are incapable to have babies.
A major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
Well, Democratic candidate U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, too, promised big in her door-to-door campaign in Georgia. She announced to provide tax credit for small business startups and said that the formalities will be announced next week.
Rolling out next week is basically a tax credit for startups, for small businesses. We're starting out. Yes. Half of America's working population either owns, runs, or works in a small business.
Well, in Georgia, Harris also held a rally where supporters demanded peace in Gaza. She assured her supporters that a deal will be finalized soon on ceasefire in Gaza-Israel war and release of the hostages.
Hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. Let me just say something. Let me just say something. We are fighting for a democracy. Everyone has a right and should have their voices heard. I am speaking now, but on the subject, I will say this. The president and I are working around the clock. We've got to get a hostage deal done and get a ceasefire done now.
Well, moving on to updates on Gaza conflict, the Israeli military and Hamas leaders have agreed to a series of humanitarian pauses in Gaza to allow for the vaccination of children against polio. The two sides agreed to 3 separate zoned 3-day pauses in fighting in Gaza to allow for the vaccination of some 640,000 children against polio. The World Health Organization, the first round of vaccination campaign, will begin on Sunday.
Well, first of all, a 2-round polio vaccination campaign will actually start on the 1st of September in the Gaza Strip. During each round of the campaign, the Palestinian Ministry of Health, in collaboration with WHO, UNICEF, UNRWA, and partners, will provide 2 drops of the novel oral polio vaccine type 2. So-called NOPV2, to more than 640,000 children under 10 years of age.
Well, the campaign will start in central Gaza with a 3-day pause in fighting, then move to southern Gaza, where there would be another 3-day pause, followed by another northern Gaza. The WHO confirmed on August 23rd that at least 1 baby has been paralyzed by the type 2 polio virus, the first such case in the territory in 25 years.
So we start the 1st of September, and we start in central Gaza for 3 days, followed by South Gaza, and then followed by the north of Gaza. Due to the insecurity, the damage, the road infrastructure, and population displacement, but also based on our experience with this kind of campaigns globally and worldwide, the 3 days might not be enough to achieve adequate vaccination. So we will monitor it throughout the campaign. It has been agreed when needed, the campaign will be extended by 1 day per zone, or even more when necessary.
Well, the United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting on Thursday in New York to discuss the latest developments in the West Asia. During a Security Council meeting, Executive Director of its Health Emergencies Program, Dr. Mike Ryan, underscored the severe impact of the conflict on Gaza's healthcare system. Dr. Ryan warned that the polio outbreak is just one part of a larger public health catastrophe in Gaza.
The polio outbreak is occurring within a much larger public health catastrophe. Hospitals in the north are facing dire shortages of fuel. Yesterday, WHO managed to reach the Indonesian hospital to deliver fuel, while in the last 2 weeks, only one of WHO's 6 requested missions was facilitated to deliver fuel and medical supplies to northern Gaza.
Well, Israel's defense minister on Thursday called for the expansion of the stated goals of the conflict in Gaza to include enabling residents to return to communities in northern Israel that have been evacuated due to attacks by Iran-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. At a meeting with top military officials, Gallant said he would bring the proposal to include the goal to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the cabinet.
Our mission on the northern front is clear: to ensure the safe return of northern communities to their homes. In order to achieve this goal, we must expand the goals of the war and include the safe return of Israel's northern residents to their homes on the northern border safely. This move will not diminish our absolute commitment to destroying Hamas and returning the hostages. Once we formulate this proposal, I will raise it before the Prime Minister and the Cabinet.
Well, on to updates on Russia-Ukraine conflict now. One of Ukraine's F-16 fighter jets crashed while repelling a major Russian attack on Monday. Kyiv's military said the first such loss reported since the long-awaited arrival of the US-made planes this month. A top Ukrainian pilot was also killed in the crash. According to the sources, the crash is being investigated and international experts will be invited to participate in the probe. Ukrainian Air Force used the F-16 to destroy missiles and drones launched by Russia on Monday. This was the first time any Ukrainian official confirmed the jets were being used in combat. Kyiv waited a long time to get hold of the F-16s, and Zelensky has been asking its Western allies for the fighter jets since the start of the full-scale conflict. And the European Union's defense ministers are meeting in Brussels to discuss boosting the bloc's support for Ukraine and the disputed Venezuelan elections. The defense officials are also expected to look into Europe's defense more generally in the face of what they perceive to be a growing Russian threat. Alex Gardia reports for more from Brussels.
Well, this meeting of EU defence ministers is the first one since the summer break, and it will be a continuation of what we saw the previous day by the foreign ministers. The big focus will be on Ukraine's defence capabilities. One big question for the ministers will be whether or not to allow Ukraine to use Western European weapons to strike deeper into Russian territory to hit the military infrastructure that Russia has been using to hit civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. That is a very big question still for these ministers. But also, Rustem Umerov, the defense minister of Ukraine, will be putting pressure on his European partners to in turn put pressure on Washington, D.C. to allow the extension use of those American weapons as well. So certainly a big diplomatic push by the Ukrainians, looking at the possibility of more supplies for Ukraine's defense, as well as allowing them to use the existing supplies more extensively. There will also be a big focus on the European Satellite Center, which has been such a crucial part in intelligence sharing and information sharing by the European Union and its allies, but also a focus on EU defense more generally. A big question there, whether or not EU defenses should be used to intercept Russian missiles flying through European airspace to get to Ukraine. That will be one question, but also more generally looking at the EU's ability to defend itself against what they perceive as an increasingly aggressive Russia. So certainly a very busy day for the defense ministers of the European Union. Alex Kadya in Brussels reporting for DD India.
Well, we'll be back in a short while. Time now for a short break. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Kuran, and moving on. Torrential rain continued to pour over large parts of Japan on Friday morning after Typhoon Shanshan made landfall a day earlier. In the southwestern region of Kyushu, residents in Fukuoka city were hunkering down with streets quiet and shops shuttered. Airlines have also announced cancellations of hundreds of domestic and some international flights, along with the suspension of many ferry and rail services. The weather agency said the storm was expected to approach the central and eastern regions after moving from Kyushu. And for more, we have Chris Gilbert joining us. Well, Chris, as Typhoon Shanshan hit Japan, heavy rain, strong winds are there. Evacuation notices have been issued to millions of people in Kyushu and also in other areas like Yokohama. How is the situation right now there?
Well, one thing to understand about the evacuation orders is that it is a sliding scale from 1 to 5. 1 just please be prepared to evacuate, to all the way to level 5, which is, effectively forcing people to evacuate their homes. And that level 5 has only actually been applied to a few thousand people, despite, many reports saying that millions have been evacuated in Kyushu. They were only strongly advised to, and that is the advice that is sent to all of Japan, really. As you can see, it's raining here in Tokyo. We're still a couple of 100 kilometers away from the storm, which is crawling its way eastward, and that's because the warm air from the storm is creating deluges in other parts of the country, and that has really been continuing here in Tokyo and neighboring prefectures throughout Thursday night into Friday. It's just died off a little bit at the moment, which is much needed because several of the rivers here bursting point at Saitama Prefecture to the north and Kanagawa Prefecture to the west of Tokyo. As you mentioned, Yokohama, which is in Kanagawa Prefecture, rivers there have forced the evacuation, that level 5 evacuation, to tens of thousands of people there. And so as you can see, the rain is just starting to die off for a little bit now, and it's much needed to get some drainage out of these rivers and bring them back from the precipice of bursting over and flooding. But the rain is expected to last until Sunday, and so authorities are urging people to remain vigilant until this storm and the weather that accompanies it is well and truly past.
All right, Chris, as you said, the rain is expected till Sunday, and the typhoon's path keeps changing, making it unpredictable. How is the transportation situation being managed there?
Yeah, it's a really good point. It is a very hard storm to predict because it's moving so slowly, and in fact it was meant to go straight up the main bulk of Japan, but now it looks like it's going to pivot eastwards, kind of just skipping below Tokyo rather than going over it. The transport situation is disrupted, but there was a lot of notice going all the way back to Monday that this was going to be the case. The bullet train is really the main way that people get around between cities here. And back on Monday, the authorities were saying well in advance that the bullet train between major cities like Tokyo and Osaka and Fukuoka, all the way down the main body of the main central part of Japan was going to be disrupted, and it is disrupted now, and it looks like it's going to be for the next few days. Flights continue to be disrupted. Yesterday there was 600 flights affecting 33,000 passengers in and out of Kyushu affected. And also, just here in Tokyo, the main commuter lines in and out of the city to the far western suburbs are being disrupted, affecting lots of people trying to get in and out of work. Trees have been felled around the region, have fallen around the region, blocking roads, and most importantly, the Chuo Expressway, which is the one of the main highways to get in and out of Tokyo to the west and to the rest of the country to the west, has a part of that highway closed as well, creating blockages. So there is a lot of disruption and there is a lot of cleanup to do, but authorities are urging people to just hunker down and wait till it's over, and then they'll assess the damage and try and get things back up and running again.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for all that update from Tokyo. And moving on, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan discussed a wide range of international issues with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday, including cross-strait relations, Russia, trade and concern over fentanyl. There are now plans in the works for a direct call between Xi and U.S. President Joe Biden, as Caroline Maloney reports for more.
Well, this was an important meeting between the US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and the Chinese President Xi Jinping that went on for many hours over Thursday on his final day of a 3-day trip to Beijing. Now, this potentially paves the way for a phone call between the US President Joe Biden and Xi Jinping that could happen in the short term, in a matter of weeks. And in fact, some suggestion now that the two, Xi and Biden, might even have a meeting face-to-face on the sidelines of one of the international events they both attend, potentially APEC or G20, that happens later this year. Both sides speaking this week about the importance of stabilizing relations and wanting to move forward and keep communications open. Sullivan had a number of meetings in Beijing this week. In those meetings, he was able to discuss a range of issues, everything from cross-strait relations, that includes the South China Sea and Taiwan-Chinese relations, to China's continued support for Russia and the US concern over that, mutual concern over the Middle East, of course, wanting the US in particular wanting to get to a ceasefire between Gaza and Israel, the US concern over fentanyl and how some precursors come from China and are then produced into the drug fentanyl in Mexico and end up in the US. That was something that was on the agenda, as well as artificial intelligence. And also military-to-military communication. Sullivan had a very important meeting with a top military advisor to Xi earlier in the week. That was an opportunity to solidify plans for a call between regional commanders of the different militaries that could happen again in the short term. That, again, is a push to try and stabilize relations between these two superpowers and, more than anything, really keep communications open so that they avoid any unintentional escalation. Caroline Malone in Washington for DD India.
And moving on, amid a fresh diplomatic row between US and Honduras, Washington urged Honduras to reconsider its intention to leave a long-standing extradition treaty on Thursday, as Honduran President Xiomara Castro warned of a plot against a leftist government. Castro ordered her government to withdraw from treaty and suggested it was being used to intervene in domestic affairs, while the extradition treaty remains in force as per United States, and it defended extradition as mutually beneficial to both the countries. And Elon Musk and his company Tesla have won the dismissal of a federal lawsuit accusing them of defrauding investors by inflating the value of the cryptocurrency Dogecoin, resulting in billions of dollars in losses. The ruling by U.S. District Judge in Manhattan found in favor of Musk and Tesla. The lawsuit alleged that Musk used a Twitter post and other public stunts to manipulate Dogecoin's value, profiting from trades conducted through several wallets he or Tesla controlled. Investors claim that Musk deliberately drove up Dogecoin's price by more than 36,000% over 2 years, with Musk and Tesla allegedly timing trades around Musk's public statements and activities related to Dogecoin. An American actress, Angelina Jolie, wowed the Venice Film Festival on Thursday evening, walking the red carpet for the world premiere of Maria. Jolie, in her latest biographical psychological drama, film plays the role of an opera singer, Maria Callas, who was one of the greatest sopranos of all time. Directed by Pablo Larraín, Jolie calls it the most demanding role of her career. Maria is one of 21 movies competing for the prestigious Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival, which runs until 7th of September. And India's second nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine, INS Arighat, was commissioned into the Navy on Thursday at Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. The submarine, an upgraded version of INS Arihant, represents a major step forward in India's naval capabilities in strategic nuclear deterrence.
INS Arighat, India's second nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine, was commissioned into the Indian Navy on Thursday. The commissioning ceremony took place at the Eastern Naval Command of the Indian Navy at Visakhapatnam. The commissioning was done in the presence of the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. The submarine, which will function under India's Strategic Command, marks an important milestone in India's nuclear submarine program, enhancing India's naval capabilities and strategic nuclear deterrence. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony of the vessel, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said, "Arighat will further strengthen India's nuclear triad, enhance nuclear deterrence, establish strategic balance and peace, and play a decisive role in the country's security." INS Arighat is India's second indigenously built nuclear submarine. Arighat is an Arihant-class submarine. Arighat means destroyer of the enemy. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government is working on mission mode to equip soldiers with top-quality weapons and platforms. While the commissioning of INS Arighat, which is upgraded, is a significant step in strengthening India's maritime border, it is also a major milestone in realizing the dream of a self-reliant India in the defence sector. Bureau Report, DD India.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, whose speech at a party event created fresh row, posted a clarification note in a statement on social media platform X. Mamata Banerjee has clarified that she had not threatened the protesting doctors. Meanwhile, the agitating doctors rejected the Chief Minister's appeal to join work and dare her to file FIR against them. Chhattisgarh has intensified screenings and heightened vigilance in response to a sudden swine flu outbreak that led to 12 deaths. After this increase in number of patients, the health authorities have issued alerts and increased the screenings. Search operation is underway in North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh after the pack of wolves killed at least 7 people in Bahraich. 4 wolves have been caught so far, and the hunt is on to nab 2 others. Early on Wednesday, Forest Department deployed an infrared drone in which the presence of 2 wolves were noticed in the area. The festival of Ganesh Chaturthi is just around the corner as the preparations are in full swing in West Indian state of Maharashtra to celebrate the 10-day-long festival with great zeal and religious fervour. The Ganpati festival begins on Ganesh Chaturthi, or the 4th day of Hindu month of Bhadra. The festivity ends after 10 days on Anant Chaturdashi, which is also known as Ganesh Visarjan Day. And still to come in DD India News Hour. In a narrow escape, India's archer Sheetal Devi missed the world record in the women's individual compound ranking round at Paris Paralympics. Top seed Sinner cruises to third round of US Open. Iga Swiatek also advances. And video footage of lazy bears enjoying some chilled out downtime together.
As our ecosystems change, we not only need to amplify our efforts to save them, but we also need to adapt our lives.
Today, everything grows here. At an altitude of 5,000 meters, we grow mushrooms, strawberries, watermelon, and tomatoes. It's been made possible by the introduction of technology.
It's like with stocks. You diversify your portfolio to minimize risk. That's what we're trying to do with the mixed forest, too.
People's mindset is changing in favor of electric mobility, and I see huge success in the future as well.
Same eelgrass is one of the most important elements in the ecosystem along the Baltic Sea coast. It produces oxygen and provides habitat for smaller fish.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and now let's start with all the updates from Paralympics. Well, India's archer Sheetal Devi narrowly missed the world record in the women's individual compound ranking round at Paris Paralympics. Sheetal Devi, while participating in the ranking round, shot an incredible 703 out of 720, but was overtaken by her opponent in the final shot of the qualification round. Sheetal Devi finished second in archery individual ranking round. The score 703 is the personal best for the double Asian Games gold medalist. She'll next feature in the round of 16 on Saturday. And in para badminton, India's Sukant Kadam has defeated Malaysia's Mohammad Amin Baharuddin in closely contested men's single SL4 Group B match at the Paris Paralympics 2024 on Thursday. Despite losing the first set 17-21, Kadam showed incredible tenacity to bounce back and win the second set 21-15. The final set saw Kadam face a daunting challenge. Kadam saved 4 match points and staged an extraordinary comeback, taking 6 consecutive points to clinch the final set 22-20. Meanwhile, Suhas Yathiraj also secured impressive victory in his opening men's single SL4 group matches at the Paralympics, marking a strong start to his campaign. Tokyo Paralympics silver medalist Yathiraj breezed through his Group A match, defeating Indonesia's Hikmat Ramdhani 21-7, 21-5. In another match, Tarun Tillon, who had severely injured his knee, defeated Brazil's Oliveira Rogério Jr. Xavier 21-17, 21-19 in a men's single SL4 Group D match. The match was closely contested, with both players demonstrating remarkable athleticism and resilience. And now let's look at the medal tally at Paris Paralympics so far. Well, China leads the medal tally with 4 gold and 1 silver, followed by Great Britain, which has clinched 2 gold, 3 silver and 1 bronze medals so far, while Italy is at the 3rd place with 2 gold, 2 silver and 5 bronze medals. And French President Emmanuel Macron was presented with the Olympic Order by International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach in recognition of his unstinting support for the success of the Olympic Games Paris 2024 and his attachment to the Olympic ideal dare to parer des combattants. President Emmanuel Macron was presented with the Olympic Order in gold. Macron has also backed India to successfully host the Summer Olympics in near future. He expressed his strong belief in India's ability to host the Olympic Games, highlighting its potential to organize such events effectively. And in tennis, world number 1 Jannik Sinner outclassed Alex Michelsen in straight sets to reach the third round of the US Open on Thursday. Italy's Sinner beat the American 6-4, 6-0, 6-2 for his 50th victory of the year. The 23-year-old will play Australian Chris O'Connell in the third round in New York. Meanwhile, Iga Swiatek beats Ina Shibahara 6-0, 6-1 to reach the third round of the US Open. Poland's Swiatek is the reigning US Open champion and is aiming to secure her second title in New York. 6th seed Jessica Pegula beat fellow American Sofia Kenin to keep her Grand Slam hopes alive. Pegula will play Spain's Jessica Bozas Menero next after Menero beat Britain's Katie Bolter 7-5, 7-5. And Cristiano Ronaldo, the all-time leading goal scorer in the UEFA Champions League, was honoured with a special award by UEFA President Alexander Ceferin on Thursday, recognising his remarkable achievements. The Portugal captain received an award for being the all-time Champions League top goal scorer, with the 39-year-old netting 141 goals during his spells with Manchester United, Real Madrid and Juventus. During that time, he also won the competition on 5 occasions, once with Manchester United, before 4 times with Real Madrid, including 3 in a row from 2016 to 2018. And India's Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, launched a retired sportsperson empowerment training program on the occasion of National Sports Day. The minister said RESET program is aimed at empowering retired sportspersons who brought immense laurels to the nation. The program will support them in their career development journey by empowering them with the necessary knowledge and skills and making them more employable.
मैं मानता हूं कि ऐसे कार्यक्रम से हमारे निवृत्त खिलाड़ियों में जो कौशल्य है, जो स्किल है, उसकी क्षमता है, उसका न्यू जनरेशन को फायदा होगा। देश के कई नए खिलाड़ी को निर्माण करने में उसकी भूमिका रहेगी और ये स्वयं सेट हो जाएंगे और राष्ट्र निर्माण में सहयोग करते रहेंगे। इसलिए रिसेट प्रोग्राम का आज स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री के द्वारा प्रारंभ हो रहा है। सभी स्पोर्ट्स के साथ जुड़े हुए निवृत्त खिलाड़ियों को मैं इस योजना में शामिल होने के लिए आह्वान करता हूं।
And heartwarming moments of cute giant pandas enjoying a summer snuggle have been captured on camera, with the lazy bears enjoying some chilled out downtime together. Video footage showed the group of lovely panda cubs laying down together as they enjoyed a rest on top of their favorite wooden climbing frame, with some seeming to share some hugs. Take a look. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.